I wonder what would happen if we treated traveling, or maybe even life, like a set of quests. So I'm on a quest at the moment to film 5 intros for 5 videos in New Zealand. I've done 3 of 5. I'm in Manganui at the moment. So I wonder how healthy it would be, psychologically and physically, to treat life like a set of quests. I'm going to do the research on that. I'll put it into a briefing note. I'll upload it to AI, produce a video, and that should be appearing out of the top of this island behind me right now.
Welcome to the Explainer Players! Today, we are taking a look at our own lives, and we're going to learn exactly how to hack our own psychology to defeat that heavy existential overwhelm that so many of us feel. We're looking at this fascinating framework called the side quest. It basically takes the digital mechanics we are all totally addicted to and uses them to help us re-engage with the physical world. So, are you stuck in the starting zone of your own life? Let's just pause for a second and acknowledge how incredibly real that feels. We all know that exhausting, deeply familiar sensation of digital fatigue. You know the feeling? You're lying on the couch, trapped in the paralysis of the infinite scroll, feeling like your gears are just spinning, but you aren't actually going anywhere. It is completely draining. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our official quest log for today. We'll start with Section 1, the digital burnout epidemic. Then, Section 2, enter the side quest. Moving on to Section 3, the psychology of gamification. Then we'll cover Section 4, the risks and traps. And finally, Section 5, your first micro-quest. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the digital burnout epidemic, trapped in the infinite scroll. This right here is our known world. It's basically the baseline reality of modern adult life right now. We're trapped in this era of endless, passive consumption, but zero resolution. The infinite scroll on the internet traps us as completely passive observers. We are consuming massive amounts of data, images, stories, but we aren't ever actually doing anything with them. And why does it create such a profound sense of burnout? Well, it's precisely because there is never a satisfying conclusion. There's no ending, no finish line, no real feeling of completion. Just more scrolling, which naturally leads to a deep, deep sense of inertia. Which brings us to Section 2, enter the side quest, re-enchanting the physical world. Now here is where things get really exciting. In response to all this burnout, a massive cultural counter-movement has emerged online. Millions of young adults are intentionally reframing their everyday offline activities. They aren't just running errands anymore. They're actively logging off, getting outside, and turning ordinary life into literal side quests. And this brilliantly illustrates Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. Step 1, leave the known world. Step 2, face trials. And Step 3, return transformed. You see, a true quest requires kinetic energy. It demands that the protagonist actually crosses physical space to achieve a localized goal. This is the exact mechanism that forces us to transition from a passive observer staring at a phone into an active participant in our own lives. You do not level up your character by sitting idle in the starting zone. Think of your life like a giant video game skill tree. If you just sit on the couch, your starting zone, your stats stay exactly the same. The only way to grow, the only way to genuinely level up, is by venturing out into the map, interacting with the environment, and completing specific localized goals. You literally have to step out the door. That physical movement is absolutely non-negotiable for progress. So let's level up and look at Section 3, the psychology of gamification, hacking your brain. Moving into the hard psychology of this, let's look at gamification. It is the strategic application of game design elements and mechanics in non-game contexts to motivate behavior. Think about things like quests, achievements, or exploration. What we're doing here is taking the open-ended, often totally overwhelming nature of reality and breaking it down into clear, discrete missions. By doing this, we literally manufacture the motivation that we are currently lacking in our day-to-day routines. We're just using the mechanics of our favorite games to give structure to our real-world actions. Next up, we have cognitive reframing. This is the psychological technique of changing the way a situation is viewed in order to change its impact. So the crucial point is, changing our mental framework instantly turns a boring, mundane chore into an engaging challenge. You aren't just walking to the grocery store to buy milk anymore, right? No, your objective-based mission is to secure vital provisions from the local merchant. I know, it sounds a little silly at first, but cognitively, it works wonders. It lowers the barrier to entry for tasks that usually feel tedious and infuses them with a sense of immediate purpose. And that brings us to the underlying biology. Dopaminergic reward prediction error. Try saying that 5 times fast. It's the neurological mechanism where the brain releases dopamine not just when you finish a task, but during the anticipation and active pursuit of a clearly defined goal. This right here is the secret magic system of the side quest. You are literally hacking your brain's chemistry to feel a sense of reward and excitement just by pursuing the objective, long before you even complete it. This keeps you moving forward when you normally just give up and go back to your screen. But we have to look at the flip side. Section 4, the risks and traps, the final boss of gamification. It's time to shift gears into philosophy a bit because there are real dangers here. As helpful as the system is, there are critical flaws inherent in treating all of your life like a video game. Compare unstructured wandering versus productivity metrics. This sparks a really deep debate about the loss of presence. I mean, if every beautiful walk on the beach or every bike ride through the mountains is framed as a quest that absolutely must be completed, do we lose our human capacity to simply exist? We have to question if turning nature and leisure into just another productivity metric actually destroys the restorative power of true unstructured wandering. Sometimes a walk just needs to be a walk, you know? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this stark contrast between intrinsic motivation and the over-justification trap. If we require a manufactured quest just to motivate us to go outside, what happens when the game gets boring? Relying on game mechanics can actually crowd out our organic, natural desire to engage with the world. We run the risk of becoming completely dependent on a mental framework to do what our bodies were naturally built to do in the first place. It's a trap we absolutely have to watch out for. We want to use these tools to break the burnout, not permanently replace our internal drive. All right, let's get practical. Section 5, your first microquest, building a real-world dopamine loop. Think of me as your friendly neighborhood NPC right now, your non-player character guide, offering you some practical applications for today. The cure for a doom scroll is not a vague intention to be healthier. It is a microquest. Abstract desires almost always fail when we are mentally fatigued. Saying, "Oh, I really should be healthier," doesn't give your brain a clear target. But assigning yourself a highly specific, low-stakes physical mission translates that abstract concept of wellness into immediate, physical execution. It removes the guesswork completely and makes taking action incredibly simple. So, let's open up your starting inventory with a few microquests. You could choose to just walk to the end of a specific street, or your mission could be to collect exactly 5 pieces of litter from your neighborhood. Or maybe try to navigate to a local landmark without using a digital map at all. These aren't just random tasks, guys. By completing these localized quests, you're building a real-world dopamine loop. These specific actions systematically train your brain to actually prefer the active challenges of reality and environmental stewardship over the passive consumption of a screen. You're building momentum with every single small win. Which brings us to the ultimate question. Will you close this screen right now and take your first step outside? The map is incredibly vast, and sure, your starting zone is safe, but the adventure only begins when you decide to log off. It's time to embark on your very own side quest. Good luck out there, players.
AI didn't quite give me what I wanted out of that video. Almost, but not quite. I was thinking of quests more from the perspective of something that has an impact on the meaning in a person's life. For example, for me, my overarching quest is to provide people with practical wellness activities in places like this that they could take up rather than living a sedentary life. And then a sub-quest of that is to go to New Zealand and film those 5 intros that I talked about. And then a sub-quest of that is to come here and film this outro in Wynnum out in front of low tide with the pelicans over there. So I'm thinking of questing as being something that is truly meaningful in life, something that guides your life perhaps. There's going to be another question pop up somewhere around here soon. Oh, look at this. As you look down here, I think somewhere at the next question, the Foster's random question thing that you can click through at, I'm going to look at these helicopters up here. You watch them go past. I think they're called Chinooks. Don't know, tell me in the comments. Is that a Chinook? There's 2 of them. Wonder what they're doing.